Hey, it's Ethan here with eTrailer. Today we're going to be taking a look at the Hollywood Rack's Destination Hitch Bike Rack and how it fits on our 2021 Nissan Rogue Sport. This is going to be the 4-bike version. It's a platform style rack capable of supporting 4 bikes up to 35 pounds each. It's going to hold onto our bikes primarily with these padded rotating clamps on the center mast, as well as 2 additional straps down at the bottom. So we don't recommend using these with a carbon frame bike because it could potentially damage that frame while you're driving. If you have an alternative frame style bike, the rotating padded clamps should support that to an extent, but it might get a little tricky depending on how high the bike sits and how aggressive that alternative frame is. Unfortunately, this rack does not have the ability to tilt away with the bikes loaded up, so in the event that we want it to get into the back, we're going to need to get the bike removed, so we can do that first. We'll start with this strap down here in the back. Just press this gray release, pull the strap out, come to the front, do the same thing. You can see that there is that rubberized molding on the strap as well. It slides to accommodate different tire sizes, protect the tire a little bit while you're moving. Now we'll wrap our arm around the bike because once we loosen up this center strap, the bike will start to move. Just want to make sure it doesn't roll off or hit our car. And we'll pull that center strap out. And now we can get the bike up and off, just like that. With the bike out of our way, we can start replacing some of these straps. You can see that the shape of the rack does angle down on either side to accommodate wheelbases of up to 48 inches. We can get the center mast out of the way. There's another one in the front that holds onto your bikes the same way as this one does. That one's already down. And we can do the same with the front one just by loosening up this knob until it gets to the point where we can release this catch plate. Slide that out of the way. I'm not going to do this strap just yet, but I'll do the front one. We could talk about the maximum wheel size, in this case being 3 inches. And now we can get the center mast folded down. I'm actually going to use this cradle strap and go around the front here and secure that down using the strap, so our center mast isn't moving around while we're driving. From here you can see that it does add on quite a bit of length to your vehicle, so I'll get a measurement and give you an idea of exactly how much that's going to be. So from the bumper to the furthest point back, it's going to add on about 39 inches total, so that does add quite a bit of distance to an already pretty long vehicle, something you're going to want to keep in mind. As far as ground clearance goes, because it does angle down, we'll measure here from the side, and that comes in at about 16 inches. So there's a nice rise in the shank still, and although the Rogue sits a little bit lower than some, I'm still not worried about that ground clearance as far as going up hills or over curbs. If we want to, we can fold the rack up to save a little bit of that space. So all we need to do is start by pulling this clip on the other side, and we'll undo this hand knob on the side closest to me. Turn that till it unthreads, fold the rack up, and then we'll replace that knob. And the clip. Now we can get that new measurement to see how much space we've saved. Now from the bumper to the furthest point back, it's only going to be sticking out about 12.5 inches. So we do save a ton of space by folding it up. Depending on how well you fold this center mast, it could potentially get closer to your vehicle than some. But as far as how close it sits, I'm just going to measure to about halfway. And that's going to be about 3.5 inches, depending on how far you're able to get this closed down. It might have just a little bit of up and down, but not anything where I'm going to be concerned about it making contact with my vehicle. The most notable thing about this rack is how bulky it is. So from where you are, you can tell that it does block a good amount of pretty much everything on the back of our vehicle. There are certain windows where you can see the license plate and the backup camera, but both of them are going to be pretty heavily obstructed, and especially the backup camera, you're definitely going to know that this is on here. It does sit high enough that if you're straight on, it will interfere with your taillights a little bit. They're pretty visible from the sides, but again, that is something to be mindful of. It is just barely short enough that it doesn't make any contact with our rear windows or as far as the visibility of your rear window goes, you should still be able to see out of the back just fine. The rack uses a 2-inch shank that fits into our 2-inch receiver. It's held in place by this anti-rattle bolt and a lock on the end to secure everything down.
Now we're going to go ahead and take it on our test course. First we'll start with the slaloms. This is going to show the side-to-side action. It's kind of going to mimic the movements that you'll see whenever you're driving down the road normally. Now we'll have the alternating speed bumps. This is going to be more so like the uneven roads and some of that uneven terrain you might be traveling on, and see how it holds up.
Overall, if you're looking for an entry-level way to get 4 bikes up to 35 pounds each where you need them to go, the Hollywood Rack's Destination is a really solid option. I do like how it works. I like that I can trust that it's going to get my bikes where I need them to go safely, but it does take up a good amount of space. So if you want something that can transport 4 bikes, but maybe store a little bit closer and condensed, you check out something like the Kurt Premium. It's going to be a hanging style bike rack, so it's going to make frame contact, and you might have to pick up bike adapter bars to make your bike styles work, but it is going to be a lot more condensed and easier to store. If you don't want to worry about will my bike work, as long as it's 35 pounds and you're not worried about that frame contact, the Hollywood Rack's Destination 4 bike rack is still going to be a great option. This again was just a quick look at how the Hollywood Rack's Destination 4 fits on a 2021 Nissan Rogue Sport.